Hi, Christine McDaniel here with the Health and Happiness Hacks Wellness Show. Welcome. We are filming here at Chateau, Sorrento Valley, and very excited to bring Dr. Mancini as my guest today. I've known you for a few years.
Yeah, quite a few years.
His practice is actually right down the street from our Mission Valley location, and it's just been such a great synergy between our clients, just kind of referring back and forth.
Sure.
And so I will go ahead and let him tell you more about what he does.
Sure. Thank you, Christine. Thank you for having me here today. So basically, we run a large functional medicine center here in San Diego, and I have a Doctorate in Oriental Medicine. I'm a board-certified nutrition specialist as well as a licensed acupuncturist. And what we do at the center is we provide science-based natural medical modalities for healthcare problems and for those that want to achieve really high levels of health. And we use different modalities like dietary, herbal, nutritional therapy, based on blood tests, hormone panels, and other diagnostic tests. Your medical doctor is going to prescribe pharmaceuticals. One of our primary modalities we use is biomedical acupuncture, and I'm going to say probably close to 85% of our patients at our center are referred by medical doctors for that specific modality. And the primary reason is because our unique approach from a biomedical standpoint allows us to help reduce the need for medication as well as just speed up healing responses. So that's a big part of our practice. And I'd say along the lines today with this concept of hacks, and by the way, I love the concept of hacks, because for me, biohacking, in my own definition, is really learning how to plug into the system, how to optimize it in a shorter period of time. And that's kind of what I do. And the modality we use at our center is called neurofeedback, and neurofeedback is really an evolution of biofeedback. What does neurofeedback do? So many things it does, but I'm going to say, to boil it down, it really gets people out of a survival state and really into more of a flow state. And the question is, well, what's a survival state? Well, survival state is when your nervous system is in this heightened threat response, and it's good to be there for a short period. Okay, tiger coming at you, you need to run fast.
Yeah.
But long periods, not good, because that's where we start to have those breakdowns in the system called disease, such as heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes. And that's on the physical side. On the emotional side, we have chronic anxiety, chronic depression, PTSD, poor memory, focus, concentration issues. And then, we can't forget this other part. When you're in survival mode, you don't make the same decisions as you are when you're in that flow state. What's that flow state? Flow state is, when you're on your game, you're grounded, you're focused, you're calm. You know those times,
yes.
Right? And when you're in those states, you make different decisions than when you're in survival mode. Because what's survival mode? When you're in survival mode, you don't think about the nutrition in a cookie. You don't think about the calories in a cookie. You will eat the whole bag of cookies. So when you're in survival mode, you're not thinking about anything other than, I need to make sure I get enough substance in my body because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. So what neurofeedback does, and by the way, for the value of your audience and my patients, there's nothing new about neurofeedback. The principles are no different than the ancient traditions, such as Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, prayer, yoga. All these traditions get people into that same state, which means flow. So that's what neurofeedback does. And for years, I would see patients in this state, and I figured out, I need to figure out ways to help people get out of this state, because this is really, for me, one of the driving forces to why people have what they have. And I'm an avid practitioner of meditation. I practice meditation every day. And the challenge I've had with people is this common thing. They have to take out time to do it. Now, when you're stressed, you're not going to take out more time to do something that requires you to be still. It's not going to happen. So I made it my mission to find other ways to get people out of a survival state, stress response. And acupuncture is a very powerful way. We use a technology called reset treatments, which I developed, which is combining acupuncture with brainwave entrainment. But I kept on looking, and that's where I came across neurofeedback, which has a profound impact on how to get people out of this state. So that's kind of the premise of it. And I think it's actually worth a little bit of understanding about what we're trying to do with neurofeedback. And again, I want to point out, when I say neurofeedback, it's just a faster way to get to what yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates, meditation, all those things do. So let me give you a little physiology. You okay with some physiology?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sure they'll enjoy it
Okay,
too.
perfect. So there's really constant communication between the brain and the body, and the body's always talking to the brain through the vagus response, and it's saying, hey, brain, we're good. We can digest, we can sleep, eliminate, we can breathe. Brain, we're okay. And then there's the other communication, brain to the body. And the brain's saying, hey, body, the environment is safe. Nothing is going to harm you. You can go ahead and digest. You can hang out under that tree and read a book or nap. You can do what you want, but remember, there's a flipped side to this, because when you're under threat, whole different conversation, because your brain then goes stomach, clamp down, we got to get blood flow into the arms to fight the enemy or the legs to run from the predator. Pupils, I want you to dilate, right, because I want you to see where that enemy is. Ears, I want you to be highly sensitive, because I need to hear a pin drop, because I need to know what's in the bushes. Now, would you agree that this is a good thing to have short term?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, like if there's a threat, right?
For sure.
But long term, really bad, because we were not designed to be in that state. So how many people do you see walking through your door in this heightened stress response?
Oh, definitely.
And we almost kind of say, stress is just what we're learning to live with. But I will tell you, downstream, we have all those conditions. So, really where all these practices come in is they teach you how to get into the present moment. No matter if it's meditation, if it's yoga, what are you doing in meditation? You're getting into the present moment. And what neurofeedback does is just extract the discipline part, and it just gets you into that state. So how it does that is really cool, really interesting. Would you want to know about that?
Yes.
I'm sure your audience wants to know too. So what we do is we intercept what the brain is doing. So with neurofeedback, you're actually literally, have you had neurofeedback?
Well, I've seen it at your facility. Remember?
We have to, yes, that's right.
Yes.
We have to get you there to do it.
Oh, yes.
So what we do is we place electrodes on specific areas of the head, and there's nothing that goes into the brain. I repeat, nothing goes in the head.
Do people ask that?
Yes, all the time.
Okay.
So I know your audience is thinking, are they putting electrical? No.
Okay.
So what happens, the electrical activity from the brain, EEG, goes into the neurofeedback system, and it gets fed back through a monitor. And through that monitor, you'll get feedback of your own brain's activity through visual and auditory, hearing and seeing. And that's how we generally take in the environment, right? What we see and what we hear. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're intercepting that. We're providing the brain a reflection of its own activity. This is cool. Think about this. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror and say I'm doing Tai Chi and my shoulder's up. I can see it up. Or my head is forward. Or, well, let's put it this way. Do you put lipstick on or makeup?
Sometimes, or
okay.
Makeup, yeah.
Makeup. Do you use a mirror?
Yes.
What if you didn't use a mirror? Not a good thing. There's no feedback. You have reflection. So what's same thing? It's like if I don't have the ability to get feedback and self-correct, what happens is I'm going to have the lipstick up my cheek, and so the brain is doing the same thing. It's watching its own self. And when that happens, when you self-correct, the brain begins to self-regulate. This is really cool because the brain doesn't want to be in a survival state. So what we're doing is we're teaching the brain how to calm down if you're in this heightened state of arousal, or if you're in this low state of depression. It's going to help you re-regulate back up. So you're getting quick feedback back and forth, and not just 1 or 2 times in a session. We're talking about thousands of times in a session. It's amazing.
That is so
now, again, I want to point out, you have to provide disciplines outside of neurofeedback. You can't be dependent on any modality. So what neurofeedback does is it helps bridge the gap so people can start going, I like this state. I want to recreate it at home. I'm going to start meditating. Whole different conversation. Oh. So we help bridge people to get to that point. So that's the excitement I have about neurofeedback. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, and your staff's amazing there always. Yeah. And so, and then what are some tips? Like, how often are they coming in actually? For
neurofeedback?
Yes.
Yeah, so it depends. So if someone's coming in, so we treat a lot, concussions or traumatic brain injuries, they're coming in frequently. If they're coming in more for stress and anxiety, we don't want to get them stressed. So we don't need them coming in 5 times a week. So normally on average, twice a week is generally the average. Depending on how severe, it could be more or less. But the goal is to help them recreate that same state at home, and more they do it more at home, and we see them less and less.
Nice.
So that's the good.
And how many years have you had your business for?
So I've been in practice for over 20 years. I started when I was about 3 years old.
Yeah, of course, of course.
No, I started over 20 years ago. Yeah, and I just found my passion early on.
No, and you're always so lit up. Every time I talk to you, it's like
well, I love what I do.
You can tell,
Yeah.
like it totally shows, and your staff and everybody, and you guys. So you're in Mission Valley, and you've been at that.
That location since 2007. Prior to that, I was in more East County, Lemon Grove. But all my folks up in La Jolla were yelling at me because it was too far,
yes.
which is only 7 minutes further. So it's more of an emotional thing. So I went to Mission Valley, where it became more of a central hub for if you're up in La Jolla, if you're in East County, Alpine, Pacific Beach, downtown. So I just found a place that could be more of a center.
No, it's such a great idea.
Oh.
And
you're down the street, by the way.
No, I know. You're on the same street as me. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
So, and then let them know, because you just told me some exciting news that you guys are expanding.
We are expanding. We now have added, we currently have 3,500 square feet. Now we've expanded another 2,800 square feet. And it's been always my vision to have movement therapy in our facility. Movement therapy being things like yoga, tai chi, qigong, meditation. A concept called MELT, which we're going to bring in. And I'm open to anything that is aligned with what we do to help extend the effects of health. And that's really what we do. So we're really excited. So over the next month, we're expanding. And we're going to be over 6,000 square feet. It's kind of fun. Yeah. I'm really excited.
So excited to hear that.
Yeah.
No, and expanding is always easier than a second location. So.
Yeah, I'm a person. I used to work in a surgeon's office doing post-operative care in East County, and it's just not my personality, and I don't want to limit that, but right now I love to be in one place.
Yes.
Because I can keep my arms, I can touch it.
No,
So,
for sure. No, that makes sense. So you do all this amazing self-care, you help with the self-care of others. What do you do for your own self-care? What would be
I do what I tell my patients to do. I do get up really early. I mean, for me, I get up between 3 to 4 a.m. every morning to do my own meditation practice, because I need to make sure the world is sleeping when I'm doing it, because my mind can start getting more active. So I spend my early hours upon rising meditation. After meditation, I spend a daily practice of feeding my mind. We get so focused on feeding the body with nutrition that you have to think about feeding the mind. And I'm always reading something early in the morning. The earlier parts of the morning, you're more in an alpha state, especially out of meditation.
Yeah.
So most of what I read or listen to, it gets downloaded really quick. So I feed my mind, feed my body. I exercise my body in the morning, train martial artist. And that's my ritual every day, not 2 days a week, not 3 days a week, not every other day, every day.
7 days a week.
So, yeah, I let life give me days off. It's called children.
Nice.
It's called just a late night of studying or whatever it is. I'm in a postgraduate program. So I just don't create, I create the habits, not habits of days off, habits of working what I love to do.
No, and I love that too. And I think the consistency is important.
Critical. Yeah. Rituals are critical.
And how long is your meditation every morning?
I spend at least an hour a day meditation. So
is it guided? Do you mix it up?
I do mix it up. Sometimes when I need a little assistance and guidance, I have some words behind it. But most time, it's just listening to soft music with no words, so that I can get into that present moment. And when you drop into that present moment, it is so powerful that you want to come back to it over and over and over again. And that's why, for me, neurofeedback is really compresses decades into a fraction of the time. It doesn't take away meditation, because I still practice it.
Yeah.
I still do practice it, but I really want to. I'm all about making things better, hacking the system. So I'll do whatever I can do to hack it.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're all about the hacks here.
Yeah.
And and it just shows in your energy. You always have this high energy, and if you're waking up at 3, 4 a.m. That's earlier than me. That's awesome. I love it. I love hearing that. What would be and you probably have many, but what's 1 or 2 favorite books of yours that you'd recommend?
Ooh.
There's like so many.
Oh, because I love reading.
Yeah.
I would say, just aligned with what we're talking about here, a book that I love that really got me involved with the science behind meditation is a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Oh, I've heard this one.
It's by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
And Dr. Joe just demystifies meditation, and I'm all about understanding the science behind meditation. And I will tell you, once I understood more of the science, it got me to do more meditation. In fact, I started neurofeedback because of Dr. Joe, because I've done his training.
Yeah.
And we're in meditation for hours, and we have they put brain maps on your head, so you get to read the electrical activity while you're meditating. I had to start. So years ago, when I did his training, That's where I brought the neurofeedback back in.
Oh, that's
yeah. So it's so aligned with everything that we're talking about.
No, and I'm glad I know we're elaborating a lot on meditation, but that's because it's such a common theme on this show. Like it is like everybody's number one, which is the question I'm going to ask you in a little bit, your number one hack. And it's everybody always says meditation. I'm like, I was talking earlier with somebody about it. I'm like, that is like, I tried it and then I fell off of it. And it's like, when you hear every single person saying that's like their number one go-to.
Yeah. Well, when I think about meditation, I think about, I'm not doing anything. And really meditation, it teaches us how to pull out. I'm going to come back to that survival mode. It pulls out, because when you're in survival mode, you're thinking about preservation. You're thinking about protection. You're thinking about when's my next meal. You can't be in a creative mode in that place. It becomes very difficult. You can't think about, what's the best version of myself. You're in your survival mode, you're going, I need to make sure I get everything done, like my to-do list, right? Everything is urgent. So it really is I call it a higher end way of thinking. When you start to go, what can I do to help get me out of that state? And when I'm out of that state, I flow. If I didn't do my meditation in the morning, I'd get up and start moving through the day. I would just move, and I'd be in this, what I call hypnosis, which majority of the time we're in anyway.
Yeah.
So.
It's almost like a hamster wheel too. It's like just go. You're not even thinking, you're not slowing down, you're not making the right decisions like you said earlier.
Yeah.
You're just,
You're never making the right decision when you're in stress, except if an animal, if you're getting predators coming at you, that's the right decision, run.
Yeah.
But most often, when you're under stress, you're generally not making the best decision for long-term, lifelong. And that's kind of where, we all catch ourselves, we're all human, but my refractory period, my period of time is less and less.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then is there any other books that you would think of recommending? You had one more.
Another book, I like to read to my son every night before we go to bed.
Yeah, how old are your kids now?
9 and 11.
Nice.
Yeah, and I like a book called The Talent Code. Actually, another book from that is called The Little Book of Talent for my son. And in the Little Book of Talent, it gives you these little, like 2 or 3 pages, simple, just key things about how to do this or that. What they do is they look at the talent hotbeds throughout the world. And what are the commonalities? Why did this group in Japan all of a sudden start having a streak of gold medalists? Or why is this gym in Texas start to produce these high-level gymnasts? Or, there was the author went through and he figured out what is the common underlying link. And The Little Book of Talent was a good one for my son because I like to read to him. And, and that's one another. I mean, there's many books, but that is for the purpose of hacking. It's a great book.
Yeah. What was the main component? What was that underlying?
Different for each.
Okay.
There was a lesson for each one. It just.
Because isn't it in Houston? Isn't the gymnast? Where is that gym? Is it in Houston, Texas?
There's a gym in Houston, but it could be that gym. But it was just different facilities in different parts of the world. We called hotbeds.
Yeah.
So this author just found out why in the world out of these people all of a sudden start producing this. And he asked the question why, and then the lessons. So my son knows it's time to sit down and lay down and read The Little Book of Talent, and we do that.
Oh my gosh, he's going to be amazing when he grows up.
Well, that's my goal.
Yeah, I love it. And I know we talk a lot about Tony Robbins too, because you've been to which event of his?
I've been to pretty much all of his events.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've gotten a lot out of.
Yeah, Tony, he's a great mentor. Dr. Joe, great mentor. We live in a time now that you're not stuck by location.
No.
You have the ability to see people on in YouTube and interact and learn and extract. And for me, I'm always hungry for this. I'm always learning. I'm always plugged in. If you see me, I'm in the car, I'm anywhere, I'm plugged in, except when I'm talking to my patients.
Yeah, of course.
And my family.
You're not listening to podcasts.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm plugged in, listening, just downloading. Yeah. And I love brilliant minds, and I hear them all the time, and I just want to download it. So, for everyone, Tony, Dr. Joe, all these great teachers, really great teachers.
No, I love that. And that's something I started doing a few years back on my lunch break. I eat at my desk, obviously, a lot of times, which maybe that's not the best thing, I don't know. But during the week, it's just more convenient. I bring the lunch, and I just eat, take a break.
Yeah.
And, I'll just type into YouTube, if it's biohacking, if it's Tony Robbins, if it's, hopefully maybe this show you're watching on your lunch break.
Yes.
But again, using that time to learn, using that break to just unplug, watch something on YouTube. Podcasts in the morning, that's always my go-to also.
Yeah, and you don't have to be there intensely listening. You can just let it go in the background. A lot of times when we're driving in our cars, we're more in that alpha state. We're in this calm state most of the time.
Yes.
And that's a great time not to listen to the news. It's a great time to just put something that feeds your spirit, that feeds your mind, that gives you nourishment, that you can leave with some gems. Even if you're not listening, you are at an unconscious level.
Oh, for sure.
And, it's amazing. You have to realize that the brain, doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined or perceived. It doesn't know the difference. And so if you constantly imagine something over and over and over, and you think about something over and over, you're downloading that. At the same time, your body, it believes your brain as if it's really happening, really, like right now in this moment, right? Like for example, think about this. Say you were feeling depressed or angry about some past experience. When do you feel depressed? In the past or now?
No, now.
Now,
yeah, right?
And what about like when you're worried or you're anxious about some future event that has not happened? When do you feel it? In the future or now?
Now.
Now.
Yep.
So the Chinese or the ancients developed these practices, the Indian with yoga and Tai Chi, to get into the present moment. Because the more you are in the present moment, the less the fuel lines are going to the past and the future. Because that's where the stress is. The more attention you have to past and future, your body's going, oh, I'm reliving this over and over and over. Your body doesn't know it's not really happening, right? So it's really important that we do something, create rituals that really give us a sense of a break from the world. And that could be in your car before you turn the key. It could be before you open the door. It could be the moment you put your feet on the bed. You don't have to create this humongous ritual. That's the thing I've seen most with people that don't succeed, is they bite off way more than they can chew. Start little chunks, start small amounts, and get confident, and then build, and then build, and then build. All of a sudden you're going, wow, that's just what I do. People look at you like you're an alien. Like you meditate for more than an hour. I'm like, well, I didn't start that way.
Good. That's good.
No, I started
you left that part out.
Yeah, sorry.
So you 10 minutes,
it was 5 minutes. It was like, I can do this for like 5 breaths.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
You just worked up
to
that
yes,
practice.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Good to tell the viewers that.
So that's why we try to find ways for people to bridge the gap quicker.
Yeah. No, and I love, and you just said it, that was just so well said about, you're right. People get so anxious, angry, depressed about past events or about future events.
Sure.
But it's like, whoa, we're in the here and now, right now, calm down, just be mindful. I've shared this story before where I had to stare at a leaf for 45 minutes. I took a mindful class.
Okay.
Mindfulness, and they give you this a leaf, and you have to stare at this one leaf for 45 minutes. That's it. You had to look at the lines, the color,
Oh, wow.
feel. Oh, yeah.
How did it affect you? How did it affect you?
This was 10 years ago, and but now, it had the most positive effect. So
It
at
does.
the time, this is stupid, this is pointless, I don't like this, I was angry, and I'm like, what am I doing, staring at a leaf for 45 minutes, and just made jokes about it. But no, to this day, it's just, I catch myself. It's like, you have to be in the moment, be mindful of what you're doing right here and right now, not thinking about what's next, and that's the thing that, especially entrepreneurs, we're always what's next.
Yes. Now with that said, I know your audience is thinking, well, how in the world am I going to do anything if I'm in the present moment? And I've heard this many times. And we're not saying to get stuck here and look at the wall and just be here, because you can't get things done. You have to get things done.
Yeah.
So it's really about understanding how to get in the present moment, how to be flexible, because there's a time to move forward. There's a time to be still. And the more you are controlling that process, you go time to recover, because we know people that are go until they break down.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't want to do that. Those are people that we call warnings, not examples. So we want to be in a place of saying, what can I do that I can be in control of? So when I go. I'm not on 5th, 6th gear all the time. So that's really what we're doing. We're not saying to be still and do nothing all the time, but have the ability to do it. You have someone to say, can you just be still for 1 minute and watch your breath and count your breath? They're never going to get to it because they never practice getting present, because the mind goes where? Future and past.
Yeah.
So it's really about just having more control. So for an entrepreneur like you and myself, control, did you say control? We'll do it. We want to get the job done, right? I will sit here and do it. So there's a process that you need to go through to really create some presence. But it is profound impacts, as you know, with looking at the leaf.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's sense. And I know I shared it on a different show, but it's just, it's the perfect example of like, okay, learning how to do that. So then my next question is, what would be your number one health or happiness hack? I know you have so many too.
I'm going to say on the same lines. So with my son, I read to my son every night, and there's, in the Little Book of Talent, it talks about, what you see, you become. What you're around most, you become. You lie down with dogs, you come up with fleas, right? So not a good thing.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is you want to be surrounded by people that inspire you, because what happens is there's a physiological process called mirror neurons, which reflect into you what you see, so your brain is trying to reproduce it. So if you aspire to be like something or someone or a model, is put that person in front of you. And we got YouTube, okay? So, for my son and I go, Roman, I go, what do you want to watch? And besides all the gaming stuff, I go, no, we have to watch something that's going to feed the mind, right? And then he has to pick and choose, and we find something and it feeds him, because right before you go to bed, so here's the hack. Always do something before bed that you want to download into your unconscious, because when you're going to sleep, you fall into alpha, theta, and delta. And a lot of that's happening in the alpha theta range. So if you can, last thing to do, except for watch TV, or if something feeds you, let that be that place that you can download. So 15 minutes before you go to bed, only watch or read something that you want to have digest for 7 to 8 hours in your unconscious. So that would be the hack. And you don't have to do anything other than 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. And then let your unconscious mind do the rest. And you will be blown away on what starts to occur the day after. When you wake up in the morning, the different words you say, how you think, because you're processing so much. What do most people process the news before they go to bed? Not good.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
Not good.
The people watch the,
or sitcoms or whatever. It's fun to do that, but have a time to feed the mind. And you don't have to be continuously pushing, just let the unconscious do it.
No, and I think that's a great tip. A lot of people might not know that how much the subconscious works while you're sleeping, whatever you're doing right before that.
Yeah.
And most people, it's scrolling Facebook right before bed.
That's right.
That's a lot of people's habit.
Yeah.
And it's like they see all these people and they're just the fear of missing out, or they look at, they're looking at the perfect pictures of everybody else's life, and that's just like the highlight reel of their life, and then they're self-comparing.
That's right, and then you feel lack, and you feel lack, and guess what you go to sleep with? Feeling lack. So do something that gives you a sense of feeling good about yourself on a positive vehicle to do that.
Love that. Oh my gosh, see, look how you are. I'm so glad you made it on, because we haven't even talked in a little bit. So
no, it's good to catch up.
It's good to catch up. And so how can our viewers and listeners find you? What's the best way?
So, I'd like to provide something for our audience here. So for folks that are interested in finding out a little more about what we do, I'd be more than happy to spend more time with you to kind of strategize different ways that we can help you, especially when it comes to neurofeedback. So I will spend more time, just make sure your audience indicates that you've come from.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But you can get a hold of us through our website, which is centerforintegrativecare.com. There'll be a link.
Yes, for sure. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and then our phone number is 619-287-4005. But a lot of times you guys want to check us out on the web, and that's probably the best thing to do is to see a website.
Do you ever work with people remotely through Skype or anything?
Yes, actually I'm doing more of that now, because we have people flying in, and they come in, and I do what are called strategy sessions. So that we have them come in. I'll run like blood tests. I'll get them on a protocol, a dietary protocol, lifestyle, exercise. And then I do follow-ups, so I work around the country, so we do strategy sessions, and we FaceTime, whatever it is we need to do, but I love doing it, because this is what I do.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mancini, for being here today on this show, and thank you guys for being part of our audience. And tune in next time to our next show. We air every Wednesday, so it's like a Wellness Wednesday theme is what we try to do. And you can subscribe, you can put any comments below, you can like this video. I always appreciate that. So until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.